travel, I found, after escaping from Parliament, that the people in the railway train were talking openly against the emergency. So I told our people, I told the RSS, if there's ever an election, she will lose. They couldn't believe it. But they said she won't hold elections. So the whole thing was to avoid elections. But Mrs. Gandhi told me much later, because I had become friend of Rajiv, and I was always a very, very good friend of Rajiv. So I had become softened. So she one day told me that, I asked her, why did you do this foolish thing of holding an election when you were in complete control? After all, you had already got the bad name. Why did you do this? She said, after you came into Parliament, went out, I told all the people that you have been saying I'm in total control. How can this man come from abroad, get into Parliament, make a speech and disappear? And you can't even catch him, and he's back in America. And therefore she said, I had to find some resolution. And then this J. Krishnamurti, he was her guru. She used to weep before him all the time. I must say, this is one of the unsung contributions to the emergency. He told her, you should get over this and do the right thing, even if it costs you. So it is at his persuasion that she held the election. Of course, she was assured that she would win it and all by the intelligence. The intelligence bluffed her, and she lost. Now, I tell people today, people used to ask me, how will this emergency ever go? I couldn't, even if I knew that she's going to declare an election and lose it, and if I told the people that, people would have laughed at me. This guy's mad. She declared election and she's losing. How is that possible? But that's exactly what happened. That's why I say, in any struggle, never look how it's going to end. If it's a just cause, it will end right. But by what method, we don't know.
Exactly.
What googly God will bowl, we don't know. So that's how this whole emergency ended.
How difficult was it on the family? With you having to go underground and...
Yeah, it was very difficult because they attached my property. So everything was taken over. My wife, and I had two daughters, Suhasini, she's now
Yes.
in journalism in CNN.
Yes.
Suhasini and my elder daughter, Gitanjali, they were 5 years and 3 years. And it was really hard on them because the police used to follow them. Then anybody came to our house, their houses would be raided. If my wife went to anybody's house, that house would be raided. So she was completely ostracized. People used to say, please don't come. So she was all alone for 20 months. And it was hard on her. But she's a tough girl. So she took it. I think most others would have cracked it. I know many families cracked up. And men had to write apology letters and come out of her because their wives were becoming mental wrecks. So that contribution, my wife's was there, just by her toughness in bringing up the two children, seeing that they go to exams, and to go attend school.
Continue with regular life.
Yeah.
So what about your association with Mr. Jayaprakash?
It was right, it started in 68 and till his death. His last days are here. I saw him few days before his death. He told me, this Janata Party, I found it's now like in Hindi we used to say, Baag ujad gayi hai. That means it's become, all dry. But everybody is going to leave it, but you don't leave. Give me this word. I gave him my word. I kept it.
You stuck by it even today. Sir, I've also read that your angst against the electronic voting machine.
Yeah.
Could you talk to us about that?
elected from Madurai. I was it's a very popular figure in Madurai. When in 2004 election, I stood, it was taken for granted I would win, even though I was standing alone, but I could win alone. In fact, the ADMK has never won Madurai seat. So I said, let me see the polling booth data. Now, Parliament constituency has 1500 polling booths. And each polling booth has about 2,000, 3,000 votes. And what happened is that I found out of 1,500 booths, 300 booths had 0, 1 or 2 votes. Now, that's not possible. Because every booth I used to have 5 workers. Their lives depended on me. And their lives means their social lives. And each of them had family members. So I can't get less than 25 votes per booth. Suddenly I'm getting 0 vote, 1 vote, 2 votes. So I have a son-in-law. My elder daughter is married to Professor Sanjay Sharma, who's now considered the world's leading expert in this RFID, which is radio frequency ID, which is going to replace barcode in every. He's considered the father of that. He says it's very easy to rig a machine. I won't believe it. I said, how could it be done? He said, it can be done even by mobile phones. Then, so I got a prima facie suspicion that I had been targeted, and certainly Sonia Gandhi was targeting me, that was clear. And that's because of our association with KGB and so many other things. I don't know how much of this you can show, but anyway.
All of it, sir.
So I found that she had recruited in the Congress Party 2 Telugus from California who had been convicted and been to jail for 5 years for hacking an ATM machine in the United States. Why would she personally recruit them? Then I found that the electronic voting machine, the basic chip, is produced by Japan, and it is soldered in by a foreign company. Now Japan itself doesn't use electronic voting machines. They use paper ballot, so does England. German Supreme Court has now ruled that henceforth Germany will not use electronic voting machines. Go back to ballot papers. So I had proposed a compromise. You use electronic voting machine, but like the ATM, you give me a slip, a voter slip. Tooth and nail, these people opposed it. Not only that, the electronic voting, expert who was with me, Hari Prasad, who demonstrated how you can rig it. I press a button here and it gets recorded there. He was arrested. Only 2 days ago, the foreign experts who attended my international conference, they were detained till I intervened. I had to call the Prime Minister and tell him, what is this going on? You want your name blackened like it was on 2G in Supreme Court? And I'm happy that the PM office intervened and let them off. So this is in BR election they couldn't do it because there's so much thing, and I went to court. In court, I have quoted the Information Technology Act, which requires any machine which gets an input to give a receipt. So voting is an input.
Exactly.
They have no answer. So 9th February the case is coming up. I think the court will rule, or the election commission itself may say that we are going to give a receipt. But I think in the end there is no substitute for ballot paper. You can cheat at the retail level,
Not.
but on the wholesale level